Hello, thanks for tuning in and welcome to the pool party. I hope you can swim because we're definitely diving into the deep end with a huge splash of truth, facts, evidence, information, and proof. Swim. Say what you mean. It's talk about talking. How we listen, how we hear, how we speak, how we hear what we're listening to when we speak, how a listener hears what we're saying, if what we're saying, what they're actually hearing and or understanding. Is it clear? Swim. Say what you mean. Well, that's just the beginning of understanding, because after we get that understanding, how do we accept it? How we respond if it's not what we expect is paramount. Are you okay with the truth? Are you man, woman, human, or spiritual enough to accept the truth? Let's find out. Welcome to The Swimming Pool with your host, Travis Bridges.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of The Swimming Pool, SWYM. That is the acronym for Say What You Mean. You get it? SWYM, say what W-Y-U mean. M. Yeah, okay. Yes, it's another Wednesday. And guess what? If you were here last Wednesday and I wasn't here, let me just try to explain why. I've never not been on since I said I was going to be on. But this last Wednesday, I just kind of had it up to here with just stuff, things, and people. Am I on? It's not counting. Oh my God, where are my technical people? Could somebody let me know if I'm on? Jeez. Oh, well, yeah, it's still counting there. I just hope so. Anyway, I hope you're having a fantastic evening. And I'm going to wait till I get a message from my technician to see if everything is good. If it is, I'm just going to keep going ahead. If not, I might need to start over. It's kind of weird. Let's see. I'll find out for myself if I don't get my light on. Just be patient with me. I guess that's what I get for not being here last week. Okay. They say I'm on, and I am. So I have a guest coming up, and I'm going to be short. If you notice, I've been coming on at before 9 anyway, and I'm going to just have to be okay with that. It's not like network TV, and I'm not taking a shortcut or, being half doing it. I'm just, taking advantage of the fact that, okay, maybe I'm getting older and I go to sleep. Plus I get up earlier and I've got a whole new, thing going on. So I'm getting it in when I can get it in. So as I was saying, I do have a guest. I'm going to go to them in just a couple more minutes. They're standing by waiting for me to reach out. And when I do, I'm going to be quick. I think I'm going to be out of here in less than a half hour. So thank you in advance for hanging out with me. Man, I can't see anything that's going on. So let's see. I'm not even going to try it. If you're with me, just, be here. If I don't say hello to you, it's not because, I just don't know, who's there. But as long as I'm on, I'm on. So the subject/topic is make your bed, hard or soft. And it's going to be interesting. Usually, I try not to talk about things that are personal. And most of the times I don't. But every now and then, I'll have an experience and I'll say something like, I'm just going to, not talk about it, but talk about, a subject that's, surrounding it. And I do that because, again, it's therapy for me. That's what this whole live stream is about. If you're ever watching me for the first time, or if you're discovering this, 10 years from now, or whenever you discover any of the things that are published and things that are not quite published yet, because I have some interesting things on the way. But it's therapy for me. And I get to come on and I talk sometimes to people, but just, talking is just my thing. Don't ask me how or why. And I'm not in my normal studio mode. I'm still in travel mode. So I don't have sound effects or music or anything like that. And that's okay. Anyway, make your bed, soft or hard. That's the subject. That's the topic. And I'm going straight now to my guest. And hopefully my guest will be ready and prepared and ready to go. And we will see. It's going to be interesting.
Hello?
Hey,
Hey.
how are you?
Good.
You're live on SWIM. SWIM is SWIM. That is the acronym for Say What You Mean. First of all, I want to thank you for being here. And I want to give you, I don't want to call these rules, but they are preferences for me. This is more like an interview style. I'm going to ask you some questions. Most of them will be yes or no. And sometimes I will require a yes or no. You're not forced to answer anything. So if you don't want to answer yes or no, that's fine. But if you do, I'd really appreciate it. Of course, you will always have the opportunity to explain if you want to or if you need to. Swim is say what you mean. I believe we should always say what we mean. I think it is the gateway to world peace. If we're able to be heard in saying what we mean, we can be considered. And that's another story. I won't get into it right now. So let me just get into it with you. How's your day been?
Oh, my day has been pretty well. Thank you for asking. I hope yours has been well
It's been
also.
interesting. And when we're off, the live stream, I'll call you and we can talk about our days kind of sort of off the air. But I do want to say this also. You're not on video, of course, you know that I told you that before, but my guests will never know your name unless they recognize your voice. And because I have a handful of people watching and listening now, most of the people don't know who my guests are. And I prefer it that way. I'd like to hear the message and not focus on the messenger. So I'm going to get right into it. I'm going to tell you what my topic is, and then I want you to tell me what you think I mean by my topic, and then we'll get right into it. Okay, the topic is,
Okay.
you ready? The topic is make your bed. What comes to mind when you hear
Okay.
that?
Make my bed. Well, what comes to mind for me personally is back when when I was growing up, you always heard parents that, you make your bed, you lie in it. So it's basically creating your own circumstance. That's pretty much what it means for me. You're creating your own circumstance, and based on how you decide to pretty much orchestrate that situation or that circumstance, that's you making your own bed. Whatever consequences come with that, then that's what you have to deal with.
Awesome. I love it. And that is right down the avenue that I'm going. The subtitle is soft or hard. And I guess that it has two meanings. I think it's always good to make your bed when you get up. It's the best way to start the day. Your bed is organized, and when you return for your bed later in the evening, it's all made up and organized, and you can go to bed just like you woke up, organized and orderly. So
Exactly.
with that being said, now my guests don't know who you are, and we're not going to say names. I try not to mention titles, locations, or brands or anything like that. Again, I want to focus on the message and not the messenger.
Okay.
Now, I've been knowing you for every bit of 20 years, easy. We don't talk a lot, but
Wow.
yeah, it's been that long. But you know what? It doesn't matter. I don't have to see you or hear you every day. But I know your heart, I know your spirit, and you've been the same for the most part. But I'm just going to say, I remember when I met you, it was in a spiritual environment. And I do know you for being
Correct.
someone who is not necessarily a Bible thumper, conference going, Bible marking, tongue talking, sold out, one of those folk, holy rollers or anything like that. But I do know that you are a believer like myself, and that you do at
Right.
least know 2 or 3 verses in the Bible. So with that being said, I want to ask you about something before I go on, and I'm going to keep you. My clock is starting now. I'm going to let you go in about 10 minutes from now. There was
Okay.
a story in the Bible of a biblical character who asked another person, what do you think should happen to a person if they broke the law or broke the rule or betrayed someone? Now, I'm paraphrasing here now, but one ruler asked one of his servants, I think, What do you think of a person who cheated someone or did something bad or wrong? What do you think should happen to that person? And then the servant said, well, I think they should get this, that, or the other. And then the person say, okay, well, that person is you, and that's exactly what you're going to get. Please tell me you know that story.
I do.
Oh, good. So tell me your version of it and give me the fine details before I go on, because I don't want to be too far off. And I don't know the Bible that well, but I know enough to where I can, live decent. So tell me the story.
Well, it's basically talking about how we tend to judge one another based on the law. In the Old Testament, we were under the law. Thank God today in the New Testament, we're under grace. So back then, they were basically saying, if he stole something, he should be judged or he should be punished accordingly because he broke the law. And in the natural sense, of course, we know that if we run a red light or if we run a stop sign or what have you, or if we steal something out of a store or take something that doesn't belong to us, we're breaking the law, and, well, punishment will normally ensue because of our actions. And in this particular case, that's basically what he was saying. He wanted this guy to be punished for breaking the law. But as I said before, we're now under the New Testament, and the law does not apply to us because of the grace that has been bestowed or extended to us.
Okay, so the story, do you know who the biblical characters were and what the story was about? What were they talking about? Do you remember that?
Not right offhand.
Okay, so in moving along, what about this saying? You ever heard this one? If you dig a hole for me or dig a grave, make it comfortable because you may have to lay in it. Does that sound familiar? You remember that?
Somewhat.
Okay. Well, you ever encountered anyone that, the Bible talks about, what the enemy meant for bad, God meant for evil, or turns it into
God will
good.
turn it around for good.
Yeah, and you get beauty for ashes. I want to, try to talk about people that set other people up and intend for them to fall intentionally and on purpose. But then when they fall into the same hole that they set up for you. For instance, if you knew I was trying to set you up and then I fell into the same trap, what would you think about me if you found out later that I was trying to do something that would cause you to fail, and then that same thing happened to me? What would that mean? Is that what you call karma or no?
It is basically, in the natural, we call it karma. In the spiritual, we call it whatsoever a man soweth, that he shall also reap. So if you're sowing negativity, or if you're sowing, someone, you're focusing on someone's downfall, or you're plotting, so to speak, someone's downfall. And it basically turns around and you're the one who succumbs to the downfall that you were plotting against someone else. I would just basically think you were reaping what you've sown. And that's one of the, what's the word I'm trying to think of? That's one of the, I got a brain fart.
Laws? Just laws.
It's not one
reciprocity?
Of the, well, I guess you could say it's one of the laws.
Laws of reciprocity.
Yeah, it's one of the laws. Right, exactly. You are absolutely right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of the laws of reciprocity. So, I mean, it's spiritually designed that way. It's like the my mind is like on a slow gear tonight.
It's okay, no worries. So here's what I want to talk about. When we are nasty and mean, and I'm going to go off subject for a moment, and I'm watching the clock. I've got 6.5 more minutes with you. I've heard this as it relates to something that's kind of dear to me, and that has to do with American slavery. This is totally unscripted here. I'm just kind of going here to make another point. It's been said that, the reason American slaves, cannot be given power, or, certain people can't, because of what they would do with it. They would turn on and then do the same thing to the ones who enslaved them. They would do that to them. So the people who are in power, whoever they are, the people from those, that background has to somewhat remain oppressed and remain in a position of inferior in some kind of way, because if they ever rise to power, maybe they will turn and do the same thing.
They would turn the tables.
Yeah, they would turn the tables. That's not necessarily true for good-hearted people. And I want to talk about this. There are some people that you really just can't give power and authority to, because I don't know who it was that said it. I'm sure you do, because you're smarter than me. With great power comes great responsibility. When you are in a position of authority, or you have the upper hand on someone, I guess that's why it's against the law, if you are a black belt in martial arts, to use that against someone who's almost defenseless. When you are in a position of authority or power and you abuse that authority, that's pretty bad, isn't it?
I would say so.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I went there because I believe that is the fear of people who are in authority, that they can't not necessarily let someone rise to power, but be fair, because they are afraid that, okay, what's inside of them, or I'll use me for an example. If I know I'm bad and evil, I don't want to give someone the opportunity to have any kind of authority over me, because then they're going to be bad and evil to me.
They might display the same.
Yeah. But, evil is what evil does. That's not for most people, and I don't like to use everybody. Good people are going to be good whether they have power or not. And they say, a person who's reckless with money is going to be a bigger person. If a person is crazy and you give them money, it doesn't help them. They're just a crazy person with money. And that same thing goes for a person who's in power, a position of power. You really have to be mature, responsible, ethical, and disciplined, to have, positions of a power. And just because you have the opportunity to gain, you don't just take it, especially if it involves evil doings. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Okay.
Right, absolutely.
I'm going to give you, closing thoughts, because I want to be, I want to keep my word, because I want to have you come back. I like the way your voice projects. I always told you I liked your voice. And maybe you can come on.
Really?
Yeah, you know that. You.
Even when I'm tired.
Even when you're tired. But no, you do have a great voice. You always have. And I've always wanted to work with you in voiceover work. As a matter of fact, I was in the studio just now. I just did a voiceover. I was like, man, I wish you were here, because I know you would nail this. Of course, that's with my coaching.
Let's make it happen. Let's do it.
Well, yeah, let's do. I really think we should, because I know you to be that. So let's when I get off, I'll call you back and we'll go through that. But this is what I want you to do. I want you to make your closing statements on that parable. We just went, through in the Bible, about someone who's wishing something bad on someone and else, and maybe not thinking about themselves, and what it means to be mature, ethical, responsible, disciplined when you have authority or you have positions of power over people. Just because I'm bigger than you, I shouldn't be pushing you around. And that's what bullies do. Nobody feels bad for a bully when they finally get punched in the face. Do you?
Not at all.
Of course.
Well deserved.
Well deserved. Okay, your closing thoughts on bullies and people in power who take advantage and misuse authoritative positions or power or money.
Well, first of all, I like to say that a person who does abuse power, authority, their position, so to speak, it's the sign of insecurity. When you know who you are, you know what you carry, you know what your capabilities are, and you've come up the right way, there's a sense of assuredness that, you don't have to be intimidated by someone else rising above you or someone else trying to take your position, so to speak. You don't have to be intimidated by those factors, because if you've done it the right way, I think, like I said, there's a peace and there's a self-assuredness that goes with that. People that abuse their position, there's something in them that is lacking. There's something in them that they know is not ethical. And when you are operating with bad roots to begin with, you're operating in the fear of someone finding out that those roots are bad. And when you operate out of a good, clean conscience or a good root, you don't have to worry about someone trying to steal what you've got. As far as the parable, the one where what was it again about?
The ruler asked the servant, what did he think should happen to someone?
Yes. Yeah, he broke the law. It's all a part of consequences. Back then, we were held to a different standard. Right now, we're held to grace. Thank God. It doesn't mean that we can go out and freely do as we please, but in the event that we do it under a lack of ignorance, then we have that assurance that grace can cover us and keep us in right standing with our Maker, with God.
Okay, I want to, before I had something that I drew a blank on while you were talking, so I'm going to have to listen back to my own podcast to get everything that you just said, because I was thinking about something that just popped in my head. There are people who are just, okay, this is like two different categories, and I need about another minute or two for this. So can I get another minute or two, please? Say yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
All right. So there are people who abuse their power and their authority, and but then there are also something that I learned earlier in the year: opportunistic bystanders. When someone has an opportunity to take or steal or to gain power in some kind of way, maybe they're not in authority, maybe they are not, a person of power, but when they see an opportunity, I can take this from this young person or this person that's weaker than me, or someone who's, an elderly person or whatnot. When they see that, what are your thoughts about people who just have that inside of them? I'm sure it's the same concept, but expound on that and then I'll let you go for real. Because there's people who flat out abuse power, who are in an authoritative position, and they're opportunistic bystanders who will seize an opportunity, whether it's evil or even a great opportunity. I'm talking about evil, opportunistic bystanders. Your thoughts, and then I'll let you go.
Evil people usually want to come up the quick way. My uncle used to use always the expressions, "Low money is show money." When there's evil in your heart, you're always trying to be deceptive. You're always trying to get it quickly. You're always trying to get it overnight because you don't want to do the work. You don't want to put in the time. So when you see that opportunity to basically kind of creep your way through an open crack, you run for it. You get there as quickly as you can to try to get as much as you can, because it's a small window and you got to move as quickly as possible. So when that evil spirit kicks in, you're going to make a run for the border. You're going to try to get in there and get out and get as much as you can while you're there. So that's basically how I feel on that.
That would be equivalent to digging the hole or meaning evil for someone else and then having it backfire in your face. On that note, exactly. I'm going to let you go and I'm going to make my closing statements. Do me a favor. Stay where you are, because in about 5 or 10 more minutes, I want to call you back. and share some other off the record stuff with you. Is that okay? Can I call you back in a few? Say yes.
That will be fine. I'll be waiting by the phone.
Okay. All right. We'll talk later. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Have a good night.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
There you have it, my friends. That's another guest on almost another edition of Swim. Say what you mean. Okay. As my guest just said, what do we have here? Say what you mean what you say. I guess the closing statement I want to make and the point I want to make is when you are evil, as she just said, you're insecure in some kind of way. And if you are a person in authority or of power and you abuse that in any kind of way, it says something about your own ethics and insecurity. I believe that. I just want to say this. When you dig a hole and plot against someone, and then the tables turn, there's something about tables turning in the hands of, if someone plots against you. I saw something on the on social media the other day, and it said you can be lied on, talked about, and something, and still succeed. There's something about being protected from vicious people that causes things to turn around. Sometimes if you stand still and you do the right thing. I was listening to Joel Osteen this morning, and he said something about, being still and being okay. Somehow or another, good works out in your favor. But I want to talk about this, and I'm going to go. I've got 4 minutes to go. When someone does something and it's evil, and then the tables turn, and then they want to turn around and point at the person who is doing what they created for themselves, and try to then turn it around and say someone else is bad or evil when the karma comes back is just a shame. And that's just what I want to talk about. I don't want to find myself in position of doing something. If by chance I make a mistake, we all do. And, because sometimes you can do things and not necessarily realize it. Or sometimes you can do things and then when you get caught, it's one thing to get caught and then scream, okay, why is everybody always picking on me? If you're, a bad person and you finally get busted. But if you do something and you're wrong, and then you say, okay, the Bible says repent. If we just admit that, okay, I was wrong, you stand to be in a better place than if you continue to try to continue to lie, cheat, and steal, or do evil against, other things in other positions. If you're doing the wrong thing and, you found out for whatever way, there's a time to say, okay, yeah, I was wrong. I was doing something and I'm sorry. Even if you have to go through and get whatever's coming to you. Sometimes people do their time and then, that's it. But when the tables turn on you, do yourself a favor, do other people a favor. Don't start crying and screaming that someone's doing you wrong. You're doing yourself wrong. Don't fall into that trap. I see it all the time. I hear about it a lot. And it's right before us. Everyone knows someone that's as nasty as they can be. As they say, they can dish it out, but they can't take it in. Try to do your best to be good. Good is in you. Good is in all of us. And we can do anything we want to do. And just because we have an opportunity to come up, that, as she just said, slow money is show money or something like that. I don't even know what she meant, but that's cool. Maybe I'll find out later. But just because you have an opportunity to gain doesn't mean you should take it. And we've all done it. We've all been there. But when you know better, you really are supposed to do better. And that's what I'm going to close on. If you know you're wrong, and whether you're caught or not, find the exit door before the door shuts. And then you have to be the one to lay in the bed that you made, particularly for someone else, or the hole that you dug for someone else. If you're doing it, if you've done it, maybe ask for forgiveness or then go back and, repay for whatever reason. But with that being said, let's just try to do better. Let's not know we're creepy and then keep being creepy. Let's not know we're wrong and then when the tables turn, we start screaming. Let's don't do that. Okay? Make your bed hard or soft. Thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. Travis Bridges is my name. This is SWIM, SWYM. That is the acronym for Say What You Mean. Till next time, do me a small favor. Find someone that you need to say I love you to. Don't just say it, okay? Show it, mean it, and let it be true. Good night.
SWYM. Swim. Say what you mean. As much as this information is designed to bring awareness to how we listen, hear, and process, it is also a form of therapy. The little person inside of all of us needs to be heard. As adults, even listening to ourselves is a form of healing, strengthening, and growth. It's okay to speak, talk, express yourself, and be heard, even if you're the only listener. If our testimony does anything at all for anyone else, that makes the continued effort worth the time. Get the words out. You'll feel better, and that's a promise. Thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it.
Sometimes it seems like all the good times are gone, but you got to keep on searching. You got to keep on keeping on. Keep on keeping on. For example, take me, standing right here today. I would not be here with you if I believed the things that the people say. You got to keep on searching. Keep on searching. Keep it on the cool side. Keep it on the cool side. Keep on looking around.
Good night, everybody. Thanks again for hanging out. I appreciate it.